Rayan Al Mansoor thought he was marrying perfection, until his bride's hidden world on OnlyFans turned their wedding night into a nightmare that would haunt Dubai forever. The wedding of Rayan Al Mansoor and Ananya Kapoor was the most talked-about event in Dubai. The Al Mansoor family owned hotels, oil shares, and luxury brands spread across the Middle East. Rayan, their only son, was known as a reserved yet generous businessman. He avoided scandals, stayed away from parties, and focused entirely on his empire. When news broke that he was marrying an Indian model, the city buzzed with curiosity. Invitations were sent in gold-trimmed boxes, each sealed with a diamond-shaped wax stamp bearing the family crest. Guests arrived from London, Mumbai, and New York, dressed in designer outfits that glimmered beneath the desert lights. The wedding took place at a private resort on the Palm Jumeirah, where a glass aisle floated over a pool filled with white lotus flowers. Helicopters hovered above to capture the aerial view of the century's grandest celebration. Ananya looked breathtaking in a hand-embroidered gown that sparkled like crushed moonlight. Her beauty silenced the crowd when she walked down the aisle, her veil fluttering softly in the warm sea breeze. To everyone watching, she appeared to be the picture of grace and innocence. Rayan stood tall at the altar, his face calm but unreadable. When they exchanged vows, cameras flashed like lightning. Guests clapped, champagne flowed, and music filled the night air. Reporters described it as a union of wealth and beauty, a story made for the front page. No one noticed the faint unease in Rayan's eyes when he looked at his bride, nor did they see how tightly Ananya's hands trembled as she held his. Beneath the glitter, something darker was already waiting, hidden beneath the gold and roses of their perfect wedding. Rayan had first met Ananya during a luxury watch campaign shoot in Mumbai, a collaboration between his hotel chain and a European brand. She was not the main model that day, just a last-minute replacement for someone who had canceled. Yet the moment Rayan saw her, he felt drawn to her calm presence. Unlike the others on set, she didn't rush for attention. She sat quietly in a corner, sipping coffee, her confidence subtle but magnetic. Rayan, who rarely took interest in anyone outside business, found himself watching her between meetings. When he finally approached, she greeted him with a soft smile that disarmed his usual composure. Their connection grew quickly. Ananya told him she came from a modest family in Delhi and had worked hard to reach where she was. Rayan admired her determination, while she seemed fascinated by his discipline and quiet strength. Within weeks, they were seen together at events across Mumbai and Dubai. The media called it a modern royal romance. Rayan's friends teased him about moving too fast, but he believed destiny didn't wait. Ananya's charm, mixed with mystery, only deepened his attachment. He introduced her to his parents, who were skeptical at first. They worried about her past in the entertainment industry, but Ananya's politeness and grace won them over. To Rayan, she represented everything he'd never had, a simple soul untouched by the greed that often surrounded his world. Their love blossomed across time zones, filled with luxury trips, moonlit dinners, and secret promises. Yet even in the glow of new love, there were small gaps, unanswered calls, delayed messages, and times when Ananya grew distant for no reason. Rayan ignored those signs, believing love was stronger than doubt. But in truth, the cracks had already begun to form. As the wedding date approached, whispers began to circulate in Rayan's social circle about Ananya's past. Some claimed she had worked in bold photo shoots years ago. Others said she had an unverified side job that wasn't entirely innocent. Rayan's business partner forwarded him a link to an old modeling website, but it had been deleted before he could open it. His friends warned him to be careful, suggesting he should run a background check before marriage. Rayan laughed it off, believing jealousy was driving their curiosity. In his mind, love was meant to heal, not to doubt. Ananya maintained her charm effortlessly. She told stories of her early struggles in modeling, how she'd been rejected for her height, criticized for her accent, yet kept fighting until she made it. Rayan admired her honesty. To him, she seemed strong, independent, and resilient. He wanted to be the man who gave her peace after years of hardship. When small inconsistencies appeared in her stories, different names of agencies, slightly altered timelines, he brushed them aside. Everyone had things they preferred to forget, he thought. Yet, there were moments that made him uneasy. Once, at a charity gala, A man approached Ananya and froze when he saw her. She quickly changed the topic and led Ryan away before the man could speak. Another time, her phone lit up late at night with a message labeled urgent work content, which she deleted instantly. Still, Ryan convinced himself not to snoop or question her. Love, he believed, demanded trust above all. But beneath her graceful smile, Ananya carried secrets wrapped tightly like silk, beautiful to look at, impossible to untangle. What Ryan didn't know was that her past wasn't behind her at all. It was waiting patiently to return. After the ceremony ended, the celebration moved into the early hours of the night. Guests danced beneath golden chandeliers, and a live orchestra played softly while champagne flowed endlessly. When the final toast was made, Ryan and Ananya slipped away from the crowd and entered the limousine waiting outside. The drive to the Burj Al Arab was quiet. The city lights shimmered across the glass towers, reflecting off the car's tinted windows. Ryan looked out into the skyline, feeling a strange mix of exhaustion and peace. Ananya rested her head on his shoulder, whispering that she couldn't believe it was all real. The world saw them as the perfect couple beginning a perfect life. Neither knew how brief that illusion would be. When they arrived, hotel staff escorted them to the royal suite reserved only for the wealthiest guests. The room itself was like a dream, walls lined with gold trim, silk curtains swaying gently from the sea breeze, and rose petals scattered across the king-sized bed. A private balcony opened to a breathtaking view of the Arabian Gulf, its waves glowing under the moonlight. A chilled bottle of Dom Perignon sat on a silver tray beside two crystal glasses. Everything had been planned to perfection. Ryan removed his cufflinks and set them beside the champagne. For a moment, he simply admired his new wife as she moved across the room. Ananya walked to the mirror, carefully removing her jewelry one piece at a time. The air between them felt calm, heavy with unspoken emotions. It was a night meant for love, for beginning a shared future. Yet under the warm candlelight and soft music, there lingered something colder, an invisible tension neither could name, but both somehow sensed. The perfect night was quietly turning uncertain. While Ananya stepped into the bathroom to change, Ryan poured 2 glasses of champagne and scrolled through his phone. He planned to post a simple message: "Forever begins tonight." The wedding had already become a trending topic online, and thousands of congratulatory comments flooded his notifications. But then a new alert appeared from a gossip blog known for celebrity scandals. The headline read, "Who is the real Ananya Kapoor? Leaked clips reveal shocking secret before wedding." His thumb froze above the screen. He assumed it was another baseless rumor designed to exploit their fame, but curiosity overpowered him. He tapped the link. A page loaded slowly, the Wi-Fi signal flickering under the marble ceiling. When it finally appeared, his face drained of color. There, in bold letters, was a profile name, Anya_Desires. Beneath it were blurred images labeled exclusive content and subscription prices in dollars. The small preview clips, though censored, were unmistakable. The woman in them looked exactly like his wife. The same birthmark on the collarbone. The same voice in one video greeting her viewers. Ryan's chest tightened. He scrolled further, hoping it was a coincidence, a cruel impersonation. But the timestamps showed regular activity, posts uploaded just days before the wedding. The account had thousands of followers and massive monthly earnings. He dropped the phone onto the bed, staring blankly at the shimmering city outside the window. His heart raced as a mix of disbelief, anger, and humiliation clouded his thoughts. In the distance, the sound of running water from the bathroom echoed softly, almost peaceful. But for Ryan, peace had vanished. The perfect image of love he had built was shattering silently inside him, piece by piece, as the truth revealed itself in the glow of his phone screen. Ryan sat frozen on the edge of the bed, the phone still glowing in his hand. He forced himself to open the page again, hoping he had imagined it. But the evidence was undeniable. The username, the photos, the captions, all unmistakably hers. In one clip, he heard Ananya's voice laughing, saying words she had once whispered to him in private. His stomach twisted. It felt as if every memory of their relationship had been rewritten before his eyes. He scrolled down and saw that the account had been active for nearly 2 years. The newest post had been uploaded only 3 days ago, while Ananya was already in Dubai for final wedding preparations. He checked the transaction details listed on the leaked forum. The account had earned an enormous amount of money. Monthly deposits were made into an international digital wallet registered under her maiden name. His pulse quickened as 100 questions filled his mind. Had she married him for money? Was everything between them an act? The silence in the suite grew unbearable. Ryan's reflection in the glass wall looked pale and unfamiliar. The golden lights of Dubai glittered in the distance, mocking his humiliation. He imagined the guests still celebrating somewhere, unaware that their fairy tale couple had turned into a nightmare within hours. For a brief moment, he thought of confronting her calmly, demanding an explanation. But anger overpowered reason. He closed the phone, breathing hard, trying to steady himself. The woman he had trusted completely was now a stranger. The line between love and betrayal blurred so quickly that he could no longer tell which emotion hurt more. Somewhere behind the bathroom door, the sound of running water continued, indifferent to the storm that had begun. Ryan's mind raced, every heartbeat echoing in his ears. The air in the suite felt thick, heavy with betrayal. He tried to remember every moment that might have hinted at this hidden life. Suddenly, the late-night phone calls, the unplanned trips, and the frequent modeling assignments began to align like pieces of a dark puzzle. He had trusted her so deeply that he'd never once doubted her excuses. Now each memory replayed in his mind with new meaning, revealing a pattern he had refused to see. He stood up and began pacing the room, his thoughts spiraling. The polished marble floor reflected his trembling hands. He thought of the countless times he had defended her when others had whispered rumors. He had called her pure, honest, and different. The irony cut through him like glass. Everything he believed about her, and about love, collapsed in seconds. The OnlyFans page remained open on his phone, the images staring back like ghosts from a secret life. He wondered if anyone else knew, if his friends or the press had already seen it. Shame burned through him more than anger. A powerful man, respected across Dubai, deceived on the very night meant to mark his happiness. He tried to rationalize it. Maybe it wasn't her. Maybe someone had stolen her photos. But deep down he knew. Her voice, her movements, even her laughter, it couldn't be anyone else. His heart ached with confusion. Was she a manipulator or a victim of her past? He wanted answers, yet feared what they might be. As he stared at the locked bathroom door, anger began to boil quietly within him. The sound of water stopped, and silence filled the room, an eerie calm before everything unraveled. The bathroom door opened slowly, and Ananya stepped out wrapped in a silk robe, her damp hair falling over her shoulders. The scent of jasmine filled the air, blending with the faint aroma of champagne. She smiled softly, unaware of the storm waiting in Ryan's eyes. He stood near the balcony, motionless, his phone clenched tightly in his hand. When their eyes met, her smile faltered. Something in his expression, cold, unreadable, made her pause. The warmth that had filled the room only moments ago turned to ice. Ryan turned his gaze toward the glass table, where the phone lay face up, the OnlyFans page still open. For a second, Ananya's breath caught. Her eyes flickered toward it instinctively, and that single movement confirmed everything. No words were exchanged. None were needed. She took a step forward, her lips parting as if to explain, but Ryan quietly walked to the door and locked it with a slow click. The sound echoed like a warning in the silent suite. Ananya's heartbeat quickened. She tried to speak, but her voice failed her. The luxury of the room, the golden drapes, the glowing candles, the sea outside, suddenly felt suffocating. Ryan stood still, his jaw tight, breathing unevenly. The distance between them seemed endless. The waves outside crashed harder against the shore, and the wind howled faintly through the balcony door. The atmosphere thickened with unspoken tension. Ryan's mind swirled between heartbreak and fury, while Ananya's eyes pleaded for understanding. Yet neither could find the right words. The room, once filled with love and celebration, had turned into a cage of silence and fear. The night that had promised eternity now stood on the edge of something irreversible. The security footage later reviewed by investigators showed the hallway outside the royal suite bathed in dim golden light. The camera captured only shadows moving behind the frosted glass door, silhouettes crossing back and forth as if caught in a silent storm. Inside, the tension had erupted into chaos. Witnesses staying on the same floor reported hearing raised voices around 3:30 a.m., muffled at first, then louder, shouting, objects falling, and what sounded like glass breaking. Some guests thought it was a lover's quarrel. Others assumed it was part of a celebration continuing late into the night. No one imagined it was the beginning of a tragedy. Inside the suite, the pristine beauty of the room was shattered. A vase lay broken near the wall, and rose petals mixed with shards of glass on the floor. The candles that had burned softly hours earlier now flickered violently in the draft from the balcony. Ryan's anger, long contained, had finally burst out, colliding with Ananya's desperate attempts to explain. Her pleas and his disbelief filled the air, turning love into accusation and pain into rage. At exactly 3:40 a.m., the noises stopped abruptly. The silence that followed was so complete it felt unnatural. A few guests peered through their peepholes, but the corridor remained empty. The suite door never opened again that night. Downstairs, the hotel staff continued their night routines, unaware of the disaster unfolding above them. Room service orders were being delivered, the lobby pianist played softly, and the world outside slept peacefully. But behind the locked door of Suite 906, something irreversible had already happened. A turning point that transformed the fairy tale wedding into a crime scene before dawn. When the sun rose over Dubai, the Burj Al Arab shimmered like a golden crown against the sea. Guests from the wedding had already begun checking out, unaware that something horrifying waited on the top floor. At 11 a.m., a housekeeping attendant named Miriam knocked gently on the suite door for the routine morning cleanup. There was no answer. Assuming the newlyweds were sleeping after their long night, she hesitated before using her master key. As the door opened, the scent of spilled wine and perfume filled the air, but something about the silence felt wrong. The room was in disarray. Champagne glasses lay shattered across the floor, the sheets tangled and stained with red marks that looked like wine but smelled metallic. The curtains fluttered in the morning breeze from a half-opened balcony door. Furniture was overturned, one lamp broken, a chair lying on its side. Miriam's hands began to tremble as she called out softly, her voice echoing in the chaos. When she reached the bathroom, her breath caught in her throat. There, in the marble bathtub, Ananya lay motionless, her skin pale against the cold water. Her wedding jewelry floated around her like scattered coins. A faint bruise marked her temple, and one of her earrings had fallen to the floor. The sight was hauntingly still, almost staged. Miriam screamed and dropped her cleaning tray, the sound echoing through the hallway. Security and hotel management rushed to the scene within minutes. The police arrived soon after, sealing off the area. The suite that had been the centerpiece of love and luxury only hours ago had turned into a crime scene. The groom, Rayan Al Mansoor, was nowhere to be found. Only silence remained. By the time police arrived, every inch of the royal suite had been photographed and sealed. The body of Ananya Kapoor was taken for examination, but the whereabouts of her husband, Rayan Al Mansoor, remained a mystery. His personal belongings told a confusing story. His phone was missing, as was his passport. His wallet, however, lay on the bedside table, untouched. A trail of faint footprints, partially smeared by the cleaning staff's panic, led toward the corridor and disappeared near the elevator. Surveillance footage became the investigators' only clue. The hotel's security cameras showed Ryan leaving the suite at exactly 4:07 a.m. He wasn't wearing shoes, only a white wedding shirt stained with something dark across the sleeve. His face looked blank, drained of all emotion. He walked calmly down the hallway, pressed the elevator button, and vanished from the screen when the doors closed. That was the last confirmed sighting of him. Dubai police issued an alert across the city, checking airports, marinas, and private helipads. His name was flagged in every system, but no travel record appeared. The media caught wind of the disappearance within hours, calling it the vanishing groom mystery. The contrast between the glamorous wedding photos and the unfolding investigation captivated the public. Rumors spread quickly. Some believed Ryan had fled after committing a crime. Others claimed he'd been set up. Family members refused to comment, maintaining that he was emotionally unstable after discovering a betrayal. As night fell over the city, the Burj Al Arab's top floor remained sealed under police guard. Beneath the surface of luxury and calm, a manhunt had begun, one for a millionaire groom who had vanished into the desert shadows before the world even knew what had happened. Investigators shifted their focus to the digital evidence that could explain what had gone wrong between the newlyweds. They seized Ananya's laptop, tablet, and 2 mobile phones found in her handbag. Forensic experts discovered that her devices were heavily encrypted, filled with hidden folders and deleted histories. After days of decoding, a shocking pattern emerged. The OnlyFans account under the name Ananya Kapoor had been active for 2 full years, generating more than $1.3 million in revenue. The payments were traced through digital wallets connected to multiple offshore accounts spread across Singapore, the Maldives, and India. Transactions revealed another name repeatedly associated with the transfers: Arjun Varma, an Indian photographer once linked to Ananya during her modeling years. Police tracked his activity through IP logs and confirmed regular communication between him and Ananya, even during her engagement and wedding preparations. Some of the messages were sent while she was living in Ryan's Dubai penthouse, carefully hidden under aliases and private browsers. The discovery deepened the mystery. If Ananya was earning such massive amounts online, why had she married one of the richest men in Dubai? Was it love, or something more calculated? Investigators suspected blackmail or financial manipulation. They believed someone had control over her online persona, using it for profit. The question was, did Ryan know before that night? The digital trail hinted at a partnership that went beyond business. Photos, contracts, and correspondence suggested that Ananya and Arjun had worked together closely for years, hiding their income behind shell accounts. For detectives, it painted a picture of a woman torn between 2 worlds, one of luxury and fame, and another of secrecy and control. Somewhere between them, her fate had been sealed long before her wedding night. When authorities reached out to Arjun Varma in Mumbai, he was initially reluctant to speak. He denied any involvement in Ananya's death, but admitted to managing her online content. According to him, the OnlyFans account had started innocently as a private modeling portfolio meant for exclusive clients. Over time, the platform grew, and the content evolved to attract a wider audience. Arjun claimed that Ananya had been hesitant to continue after meeting Ryan, but the income was too significant to abandon. He portrayed himself as a business manager who handled the technical side, uploads, payments, and promotions, while Ananya focused on presentation. He insisted that their relationship was purely professional, though investigators doubted his tone of detachment. The digital records showed frequent late-night chats, emotional exchanges, and coded phrases that suggested intimacy. Arjun's story shifted several times during questioning, from business partner to confidant, and finally to something less defined. He told officers that Ananya had planned to delete her account after the wedding, but wanted to transfer her remaining earnings first. Before she could do so, someone leaked her private content. The leak, Arjun said, had devastated her. She feared Ryan would find out, and she confided that one of Ryan's associates had been asking questions about her past. Arjun refused to reveal who it was, claiming he didn't want to accuse the wrong man. Yet his hesitation only raised more suspicion. Investigators began to wonder whether the leak was accidental or intentional, perhaps orchestrated by someone who stood to gain from Ryan's disgrace. The line between jealousy, business, and revenge blurred. Every secret they uncovered pulled the case deeper into the shadows of deceit and exploitation that had shaped Ananya's double life. News of the mysterious wedding night tragedy spread across Dubai within hours, igniting a media frenzy unlike anything the city had seen in years. Headlines flooded every major outlet. Bride found dead, groom missing. Billionaire's wedding turns to horror. The story crossed international borders, dominating social media feeds in India, the Middle East, and Europe. Journalists camped outside the Al Mansoor family estate, and paparazzi chased every relative for statements. Television panels speculated endlessly. Was it murder, suicide, or scandal? Public opinion split sharply. Many sympathized with Ryan, calling him a victim of deceit who had discovered the unbearable truth about his wife. Others painted Ananya as a young woman exploited by fame, caught in a digital trap she couldn't escape. Feminist groups in India defended her, arguing she had every right to her past, while conservative voices condemned her choices. The story became more than a tragedy. It became a cultural storm about morality, class, and the modern world's obsession with image. Ryan's family refused all interviews, releasing only a short statement requesting privacy and prayers. Still, reporters dug deeper, unearthing old photos of Ananya's modeling career and interviews where she spoke about reinventing herself. Talk shows aired side-by-side comparisons of her glamorous public life and the explicit content circulating online. Meanwhile, anonymous users began selling supposed exclusive leaks of her account, turning grief into profit. The internet turned cruel, tearing apart her reputation piece by piece. The fairy tale love story that had enchanted millions just days earlier now stood as a spectacle of betrayal, shame, and voyeurism. Amid the noise, the truth of what had truly happened that night remained buried beneath headlines designed for outrage rather than understanding. 2 days after the tragedy, a truck driver traveling along the Al Qudra Desert Road reported seeing an abandoned white Rolls-Royce Phantom parked near the dunes. Police arrived within an hour, and what they found only deepened the mystery. The vehicle belonged to Rayan Al Mansoor. Its doors were unlocked, and the keys still hung from the ignition. On the front seat lay his blood-stained cufflinks, his diamond wedding ring, and a folded handwritten note. The car's interior smelled faintly of cologne and desert dust, as if it had been there since dawn. The note, written on hotel stationery, read simply, "She lied to everyone, including herself." The handwriting matched Ryan's. There were no signs of a struggle, no footprints leading away that the wind hadn't already erased. The police conducted a thorough search of the surrounding desert, bringing in drones, K9 units, and helicopters, but no trace of him was ever found. The temperature during those days soared past 40 degrees Celsius, making survival without shelter almost impossible. The discovery of the car reignited global interest in the case. Some believed Ryan had taken his own life out of heartbreak. Others were convinced he had fled, possibly to one of his offshore properties, to avoid legal consequences. Conspiracy theories flooded social media, claims of staged deaths, secret mistresses, even family cover-ups. The Al Mansoor family offered a private reward for credible information, but nothing surfaced. The Rolls-Royce was eventually towed away and impounded as evidence. Investigators could not decide whether it marked the end of Ryan's story or merely another chapter in a carefully constructed disappearance. The desert had swallowed both truth and man, leaving behind only silence, sand, and one haunting note of betrayal. The autopsy report on Ananya Kapoor was released quietly, away from the media's glare, but leaks soon found their way into headlines. The results only added layers of confusion rather than clarity. There were bruises on her arms and shoulders, consistent with a struggle, and a faint head injury near her right temple. Yet, none of them were severe enough to be considered fatal. The cause of death was listed as undetermined. The toxicology report detected traces of alcohol and mild sedatives in her system, sleeping pills prescribed under her name just a week before the wedding. Whether she had taken them willingly or been drugged was unclear. The forensic team noted that the bathtub water had already cooled by the time she was found, suggesting she had been dead for several hours. There were no signs of forced entry, robbery, or any other person's presence besides the bride and groom. The police theorized 3 possibilities: suicide driven by shame, accidental overdose leading to drowning, or an act of violence during an emotional confrontation. Each seemed possible, none could be proven. The case files grew thicker with every unanswered question. Forensics officers revisited the suite several times, searching for fingerprints, DNA traces, or hidden clues, but luxury hotels were not kind to investigations. Polished marble and smooth glass left no evidence behind. The surveillance footage from the corridor showed no visitors, no witnesses, and no signs of Ryan's return after he left. The uncertainty frustrated both families. Ryan's relatives begged for closure, while Ananya's parents demanded justice. The police called it one of Dubai's most delicate cases, too public to ignore, too unclear to solve. In the eyes of the law, both victims and culprits had vanished into the same veil of unanswered truth. Weeks passed, and the case that once dominated global headlines slowly began to fade from the news cycle. But within the investigation team, one detective refused to let it go. Inspector Faisal Rahman, a seasoned officer known for his methodical approach, had been quietly reviewing every overlooked detail. One night, while rewatching the hotel's security footage for the 10th time, he noticed something strange. A flicker in the corridor camera feed at 2:37 a.m., just minutes before Ryan's car was seen leaving the hotel. The flicker lasted less than 2 seconds, but when enhanced, it revealed the faint outline of a shadow near the suite's door. It wasn't Ryan's build. It was slimmer, slightly hunched, and wearing what appeared to be a staff uniform. Faisal traced the movements of all staff working that night. One name stood out, a housekeeping employee named Ravi Sharma, who had resigned suddenly the morning after the tragedy. When officers tried to locate him, they discovered he had already left Dubai, boarding a flight to Mumbai using a one-way ticket purchased in cash. The breakthrough reignited the investigation. Police coordinated with Indian authorities to find Ravi, but he had vanished without a trace, leaving behind an empty apartment and unpaid rent. His colleagues described him as quiet and nervous in the days leading up to the wedding, often overheard mentioning a big favor he was doing for someone rich. Faisal began to suspect that Ryan's disappearance and Ananya's death were not isolated events, but parts of a carefully planned sequence. If Ravi's presence near the room wasn't a coincidence, then someone had hired him. The question now was who and why. For the first time, the investigation began to point toward a chilling conspiracy beneath the surface of wealth and reputation. 2 months after the incident, a breakthrough arrived from an unexpected source. An anonymous email was sent to the Dubai police media desk containing a short video clip and a single message. She never knew he was watching. The video, time-stamped from the night of the wedding, appeared to be captured from a hidden camera placed inside the hotel suite ceiling vent. The grainy footage showed the couple entering the room after their reception, visibly intoxicated and exhausted. Hours later, the camera caught Ryan discovering something on Ananya's phone, her OnlyFans profile. His expression shifted from disbelief to fury, and he stormed toward the balcony. Ananya followed him, pleading, though no audio could be heard. Minutes later, the feed went black. Investigators traced the email's origin to an internet cafe in Mumbai, where Ravi Sharma had last been seen. The footage proved he had access to the couple's private suite, which suggested premeditation. The hotel management admitted that Ravi had been assigned to special maintenance for that suite just a day before the wedding, supposedly under the direction of an unnamed event coordinator. The revelation turned the investigation upside down. Someone had ordered the installation of hidden surveillance devices inside the honeymoon suite, likely to capture the couple in compromising moments. Whether it was meant for blackmail or humiliation remained uncertain. Interpol joined the case, helping connect financial dots between a Dubai-based shell company and a small Indian production agency specializing in adult content leaks. The same agency had once featured clips eerily similar to those found on Ananya's page. The horrifying possibility emerged that her OnlyFans account, and perhaps even her death, were part of something much darker than anyone had imagined. The deeper the investigation went, the darker the connections became. Inspector Faisal uncovered financial transfers linking the shell company that funded the hidden cameras to an offshore account registered under a false identity. After weeks of tracing, the account was revealed to belong to none other than Ryan's cousin, Rayan Al Mansoor, a man known in the family for his jealousy and failed business ventures. Omar had long resented Ryan's success and had been quietly struggling under mounting debt. Investigators soon discovered that Omar had secretly met Ravi Sharma several times in Dubai, each meeting occurring near the hotel where the wedding took place. Faisal pieced together the chilling theory. Omar had orchestrated the installation of hidden cameras to expose Ananya's OnlyFans history, hoping to humiliate Ryan on his wedding night and perhaps drive a wedge in his marriage. The leaked video was meant to go viral in elite circles, destroying the couple's public image while Omar stood to gain control over several family business holdings once Ryan's reputation was tarnished. But the plan had spiraled out of control. When Ryan discovered the footage, rage overtook reason. The confrontation that followed likely turned violent, leading to Ananya's accidental death. Overcome by guilt and betrayal, Ryan may have fled, or Omar could have ensured he never left the desert alive. Confronted with evidence, Omar denied everything, claiming the money transfers were business-related. Yet, The timeline fit too perfectly, and Ravi's disappearance made his denial hollow. What had started as a family rivalry now appeared as a carefully staged tragedy built on greed, envy, and digital deceit. Still, without Ryan's body or Ravi's testimony, the truth remained frustratingly incomplete, like a puzzle missing its final piece. Months later, Dubai police officially closed the case, labeling it an unresolved tragedy. With no trace of Ryan's body, no confession from Omar, and no sighting of Ravi, the investigation reached a dead end. The media eventually moved on, hungry for new scandals, leaving behind fragments of a story that no one fully understood. Yet, Inspector Faisal couldn't shake the feeling that the ending had been neatly arranged by forces more powerful than the truth itself. Files disappeared, witnesses withdrew their statements, and the Al Mansoor family's influence ensured that no one ever spoke publicly about the case again. Years later, the suite where it all happened was quietly renovated and reopened under a new name. Tourists unknowingly stayed in the very room where one of Dubai's most talked-about mysteries had unfolded. The hotel staff whispered that strange things happened there, water taps turning on by themselves, faint music echoing at night, and a woman's reflection appearing in the bathroom mirror for a split second before vanishing. Across the Arabian Sea, in a small town outside Mumbai, an unmarked envelope arrived at a local newspaper office. Inside was a photograph: Ryan, alive, standing on a beach somewhere tropical, with a beard and sunburned skin, staring into the camera. Written on the back were 5 words: "Some secrets never stay buried." The image was never verified, but it reignited old discussions. Was Ryan alive? Did he fake his death to escape guilt? Or was he being watched by the same people who had destroyed his life? The questions lingered like ghosts in the city's memory. The truth, much like the desert that swallowed it, remained endless and silent.